Suraj Kumari, Mohammed Hafiz, Mukesh Chand and Vikas Chand, Sujata Devi, Neeraj, Nitish, Chandra.
The reason why I say it's a very historical occasion, ladies and gentlemen, is because most of the people who are going to receive their leases here today, a proper titled lease, whether it's from the Crown Land or Ministry of Lands, or whether it's Itauke Land from the Itauke Lands Trust Board, most of the people here have been living as squatters for close to half a century. And that's a very, very long period of time. And of course, you have a couple of generations within that period of time who've been living as squatters. Housing, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very critical. Housing, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very critical issue to not just ensure that people have a roof over their heads, but more fundamental than that they live with dignity as human beings. It is very, very critical. If you do not have a roof over your house, and if you do not have the ability to know that that roof over your house won't be torn down or brought down by somebody, then it leaves a very, very huge impact, negative impact on your own lives. So the Fiji First government believes that every Fijian should be entitled to a proper housing. And by having proper housing, it means you must have access to land. Whether it's leased land or whether it's freehold land, whatever the case may be, and we believe that Itauke land is just as good as Crown land, just as good as freehold land for people to be able to access that land to be able to have housing. When I was here about 2 years ago, as you know that we... Please. When I was here 2 years ago approximately, the issue of Clopcott had been brought to my attention on a number of occasions. And we came here... No, he won't go. So we came here and we saw what the situation was. And we then made a determination that we need to be able to provide proper lease titles. And we've been able to achieve that today. In the past 6 months or so, government has, from its own coffers, paid about $300,000 in application fees with the Itauke Lands Trust Board and also with the Department of Lands to ensure that those people who are entitled to get a proper lease, who have been squatters here and have been living here for a period of time, have had their boundaries marked out, won't have to fork out that money from their own pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, today those people who will be getting those leases can now safely say that the land on which their house is built upon, they have a secure lease. You can use that lease, ladies and gentlemen. You can use that lease to go and get a loan from a bank. Banks will recognize that lease. You will get a proper lease. You will get a proper lease and you can borrow money to build a proper home. If you're living on a house that is not of good quality, you can improve that. That's the level of power that this lease will give you. We'll be in the next stage, of course, be fixing up the roads, as most public roads need to be fixed up. And now that you have proper leases, these roads will also be fixed up. But with this also, I want to highlight to you that there is a certain level of responsibility too. If you now have proper leases being given to you, we want you to value those leases. You, of course, will need to pay the rentals. Please make sure you pay your rentals on time. Now that you've got leases on these residential lots, don't be lured by people who come and offer you vast sums of money and then you go off and become a squatter again. Please don't do that. Because the whole idea is that you now have a proper roof over your head and on the land on which you own the lease. Because we've seen in some cases where people have been given leases, within 6 months they feel short of money, they're going to sell it off and they're going to become a squatter again. Please don't do that. Government cannot keep on doing that because you all have a certain level of responsibility to be able to help ourselves too. So it is a very, very joyous occasion today. We feel very personally, the Minister for Local Government, as you know, not just because he's from Ba, but as Minister responsible for also housing, it is a very, very momentous occasion for us. And we hope to be able to do more and more of this throughout Fiji. We'll be doing more of this. As you know, the Prime Minister had announced before the elections, we also had signed some deals with the Itauke Lands Trust Board of squatter areas between Lemi and Nasori. Those people will also be assisted, and government is also putting in money for the development of those areas for the leases. So, ladies and gentlemen, I also would like to take this occasion because, you know, we've just come back from Parliament a few weeks ago, and I hope you've been watching the parliamentary sessions. It is very important for you to also know that as a government, and you as the voter, as the member of the public, what type of expectations you have from a member of parliament. What type of expectations you have from a government. You must have always a government that is an inclusive government. It is able to help everybody. And I'm going to be very frank here today. There are many people who are today in parliament, well, there are not that many, they are the people in the opposition. Many of these people who had been campaigning were campaigning on the basis of religion, were campaigning on the basis of ethnicity, were campaigning on the basis of religion, campaigning on the basis of province, whatever the case was. They were fear-mongering. You must understand that as a citizen of this country, it is your responsibility to be able to choose people who will represent you in parliament, who can speak for everybody, not just for a handful of people. You must have people who will speak not just because of one small issue. Agar tu mama rasta right kar de, then tu vote kar dega. You fix up my road and I'll vote for you. That's only one issue. But do you know what that person will be like regarding corruption? Do you know what that person will be like regarding other areas of development in other parts of the country? Do you know if that person has the right qualifications to be a member of your parliament or the right qualifications to be a minister? You must think about the big issues. It is all of us here are Fijians. All of us have a responsibility to your country. We need to become more patriotic. You now have your own leases. When you're walking down this road, don't throw the empty bottle of Coke on the road, because that's dirtying the environment. The Minister for Environment will get very angry. Because ultimately it is our responsibility. We have to have a sense of pride in who we are and where we want our country to be. There are many, many positive things happening in Fiji today. And we need to become positive about it. We need to take a positive outlook towards our country. And if you take a positive outlook towards your country, you'll become a positive person yourself. From 1 January, we are launching the free medicine. Those people who are earning less than $20,000 will be entitled to free medicine, not just from the hospital, but from the pharmacies also. We have also free water for households who earn less than $30,000. For 91,250 liters of water, you'll be getting that for free. You have free education. I think you should clap for that. See, that's the other thing about being patriotic. You don't have to hold back. You can always clap. Feel relaxed. The other thing we also have is free education. Not just for primary school, not just for secondary school, but also for tertiary education. If your children are the top 600 scholars in this country and they want to study in the right area of the areas that government has identified, they'll get a scholarship. Even if they don't get a scholarship, but they get an entry into university, will pay for the fees up front. They can pay that when they start working. This is creating a Fiji where you have well-educated people. When people are well-educated, they get better jobs. We have a shortage of land surveyors. The director of lands is here. She'll tell you. We have a shortage of land surveyors. We give scholarships for people who want to become land surveyors. We don't give scholarships for people who want to do law. Too many lawyers. Too many crooked ones too, probably. I had to say that I was in bar. I'm not saying bar lawyers are crooked. But the point is this, whatever the Fiji First government is doing, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to take this occasion to tell you this, we are looking at the economy, we are looking at Fiji holistically. What's the big plan? You can never run a country without the big plan. We are allocating $10 million next year for Itauke landowners to develop their land. Why are we doing that? That's very important for you to understand. 91% of all the land in Fiji is Itauke land. But if you see most of the developments that are taking place in Itauke land, they are not the ones who are reaping the benefits. You'll see some person will come along and maybe lease about 100 acres, then they'll go and subdivide it and they'll sell the lease. So the value of the lease that the Itauke landowners are getting is very little. But if they themselves had the ability to develop the lease and then sell the leases, they'll get more money. If they get more money, they become true landlord owners and they actually become happier. So then they want to lease more land. Then more people have access to more land. The business people can lease the land. People who want to build their homes can lease the land. So it's a holistic view. We're fixing up education. We're doing up the roads, water, electricity. It's a shame that in people in Viti Levu, around the island, they don't have electricity. We are now making sure that the whole grid goes around the island. There are still many people in Fiji who do not have water. And for the government to be able to give people water, roads, electricity, the government has to run a very tight ship. We have to run government like a business. We have to be disciplined. Money does not have a bottomless pit. We have to work hard to earn money as a government. We all have to work hard. If we all work hard, Fiji will do really well. We become prosperous. And then most of you don't have to migrate. Please don't migrate. Fiji is a fantastic place to live. You have free education, water, roads, electricity. You can still walk down to your family's place. If you go to Australia, you have to phone them up and say, can I come? It will take you 3 hours to get there. These are the benefits of living in Fiji. So I urge those people who have received the lease or who will receive the lease today, I want to congratulate you and also apologize to you. I know many of you have knocked on the doors of previous governments. None of them saw it fit to do anything for it. The Beni Marama government and now the Fiji First government is actually putting your dreams into reality today. And you will get that lease today. And with all the positive changes that are bringing about and indeed all the amenities, please take advantage of that. All we ask you to is become good Fijian citizens and contribute to your country. And let's all work together to make Fiji a much, much better place. Thank you. And I want to once again congratulate all of you are getting the leases, but also I want to thank the Director for Lands. Her team has worked out. She's also from Bar. I think it's a big Bar thing happening here. And yes, Director for Lands, and also TLTB who is here. The staff here, I can see them in the second row. Thank you for your assistance, and thank you for expediting it. As we had said to them, we wanted to give out the leases today. We look forward to working together with their staff in other future collaborations. And also, I would like to thank the Minister for the local government who is here in housing, Mr. Praveen for his input and his energy and enthusiasm. And also acknowledge the Minister for Women, Poverty Alleviation and Children, who's also been, as you've seen in the papers, working very hard. We want to be able to reach out to all members of our society and our community to be able to ensure that we all benefit from this. So, and thank you for those people who organized the marha and the shed and all the water and everything. and the dhol. Eh? Sorry? Mr. Bala would like to thank all those of you who voted for him in the elections. And if you voted for anybody else that was from Fiji first. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Naka. Thank you.